Well, that was certainly unexpected, y'all. As of today, Friday, May 30th, TayLiar officially owns everything that she has ever made. All of her albums, all her music videos, all the songs that we've never heard, everything. She owns it all. And it's actually quite interesting because there are a few of us who have suspected for a while that either she had purchased back her rights or she was in the process of purchasing back her rights. Because realistically, I think of it this way. TayLiar is/was worth $1 billion. Like, obviously, we know Tay Capitalist loves money. Like, if you like TayLiar, you have come to terms with the fact that TayLiar likes having the security, at least, that the money gives her, but also her masters are the thing that she has really lamented the loss of the most. So for me, it seemed pretty obvious that at some point in time she would try to purchase them if she could. And a lot of us suspected that this was the reason that she took her tour films off of Netflix and brought them to Disney, because Shamrock Holdings, the company that she purchased her rights back from, the company that previously owned her rights. So it seemed like a kind of maneuver that was designed to like put her in the good graces of the people that owned her rights so that they would be more willing to negotiate with her. And there's a couple of really interesting things to me, but one of the more interesting things is the fact that she basically purchased her rights back for what Shamrock Holdings purchased them. Like, Shamrock Holdings could have very well taken a look at her situation and been like, I see that this really means a lot to you and you're a billionaire. We will charge you $550 million for this. But it seems like, based on what I've read, it's like $360 million. I think that's around what they purchased it from, which is a very fair deal. And it seems like, based on TayLiar's letter, which I'll get to in a second, I'll read it all and we'll discuss it. It seems like, based on TayLiar's letter, that they were really great with working with her, that they weren't just trying to gouge her for every penny that she was willing to spare, which is always great. But before we get into the letter, one of the most important things that is contained in this letter is the information that Rep. TayLiar's version is not completed, was like maybe a quarter of the way done, which is fascinating when you consider the number of times that she has hinted. Like, when you consider the Time Person of the Year interview, it really seemed like she was hinting that that was imminent, that people would know that that was coming. And a lot of us kind of lovingly refer to TayLiar as TayLiar from time to time, because there are times that she says things that are categorically and provably untrue, and it's very interesting when and why she says those things. But let's get into the letter. We'll discuss that more in a second. Hi, I'm trying to gather my thoughts into something coherent, but right now my mind is just a slideshow, a flashback sequence of all the times I daydreamed about, wished for, and pined away for a chance to get to tell you this news. All the times I was this close reaching out for it, only for it to fall through. I almost stopped thinking it could ever happen after 20 years of having the carrot dangled and then yanked away. But that's all in the past now. I've been bursting into tears of joy at random intervals ever since I found out that this is really happening. I really get to say these words. All of the music I've ever made now belongs to me. All of my music videos, all the concert films, the album art and photography, the unreleased songs, the memories, the magic, the madness, every single era, my entire life's work. And I am very curious to see from TayLiar what comes next, right? Because there are presumably things that she has reacquired in the acquisition of her rights that she wants to show her fans, that she's always wanted her fans to hear. A lot of us speculate that there was an album that was originally either designed to be called or it was codenamed Karma, and that she's been referring to that a number of times. A lot of us have expected that. And if you're unfamiliar with the karma theory, there was a gap in time between when 1989 was released and when her reputation was damaged, when a lot of people theorized that she was probably working on something. So there's kind of two lines of thinking. There are some people who just believe that she wasn't writing anything. She was taking a break. She had creative block. She had writer's block, something to that effect. But then there's also a lot of us who believe she had to have been working on something that got sidelined when her reputation was damaged, that forced her to change her tactics and forced her to put out Reputation. So it'll be very interesting to see what we get from her next, what we hear, what we see, what the announcements are. Obviously, it's not going to be Reputation TayLiar's version, but let's get to that in a second. To say that this is my greatest dream come true is actually being pretty reserved about it. To my fans, you know how important this has been to me. So much that I meticulously re-recorded and released 4 of my albums calling them TayLiar's version. The passionate support you showed those albums and the success story you turned the Eras Tour into is why I was able to buy back my music. I can't thank you enough for helping to reunite me with this art that I have dedicated my life to but have never owned until now. All I've ever wanted was the opportunity to work hard enough to be able to one day purchase my music outright with no strings attached, no partnership, with full autonomy. I will be forever grateful to everyone at Shamrock Capital for being the first people to ever offer this to me. The way they've handled every interaction we've had has been honest, fair, and respectful. This was a business deal to them, but I really felt like they saw it for what it was to me, my memories and my sweat and my handwriting and my decades of dreams. I am endlessly thankful. My first tattoo might just be a huge shamrock in the middle of my forehead. I know. What about Rep TV? Full transparency, I haven't even re-recorded a quarter of it. The Reputation album was so specific to that time of my life, and I kept hitting a stopping point when I tried to remake it. All that defiance, that longing to be understood while feeling purposefully misunderstood, that desperate hope, that shame-born snarl and mischief. To be perfectly honest, it's the one album in those first 6 that I thought couldn't be improved upon by redoing it, not the music or photos or videos, so I kept putting it off. There will be a time, if you're into the idea, for the unreleased vault tracks from that album to hatch. I've already completely re-recorded my entire debut album, and I really love how it sounds now. Those 2 albums can still have their moment to re-emerge when the time is right, if that would be something you guys would be excited about. But if it happens, it won't be from a place of sadness and longing for what I wish I could have. It will just be a celebration now. And I really honestly love the way this played out. Like, a lot of us have kind of been of this belief that the last 2 things TayLiar would reclaim are her name and her reputation. And this really is her reclaiming a lot of that and being able to reclaim her name if she so chooses it by re-releasing debut under the terms that she would most like to see as a celebration. And I love the way that bookends the last 2, if we're ever going to see them, TayLiar's version, but it's definitely going to bookend debut incredibly well. I'm extremely heartened by the conversations this saga has reignited within my industry among artists and fans. Every time a new artist tells me they negotiated to own their master recordings in their record contract because of this fight, I'm reminded of how important it was for all of this to happen. Thank you for being curious about something that used to be thought of as too industry-centric for broad discussion. You'll never know how much it means to me that you cared. Every single bit of it counted and ended us up here. I think this is really interesting because one of the points that I continually come back to when we discuss the re-recordings is the fact that no one thought that they were going to be successful. Like, the level of success that TayLiar has had with the Eras tour, with the re-releases of the TayLiar's version, with everything like that, these are things that a lot of people within the industry found laughable when she originally proposed doing them years ago. And it's fascinating to see how they've been proven wrong. It's fascinating to see how the fan base has valued TayLiar's continued success and also the ownership of her work. Thanks to you and your goodwill, teamwork, and encouragement, the best things that have ever been mine finally actually are. Elated and amazed, TayLiar. So back to Reputation, because this is the thing that has been sticking in my mind ever since I read this. Like, a lot of people are fixating on other parts of the letter, and I don't blame them. There's a long letter that has a lot of information. I think it's very likely that there are Easter eggs contained within this note as well. So I think that this is going to be a note that we come back to again in the future. And one of the things that I've been meaning to do, and I want to do especially now, is I've been wanting to do a deep dive back into TayLiar's Time Person of the Year interview, because I think with the new context that we have, that is a very, very interesting interview. And especially because TayLiar doesn't do the same level of interviews and things that she used to do. It's one of the most, like, complete and compelling interviews that we've gotten for her in a while, and I do think that it's something that I'm looking forward to looking over. If you are new here, my name is AerinMoriarty, and I frequently joke that I came out of the closet and immediately made Appreciating Women my life's work. I do a lot of pop music analysis, especially centered around Taylor Swift, but most particularly centering Taylor Swift as her own muse, as kind of decentering a lot of the men that a lot of other people frequently associate her songs to. I will beat this horse even when it's dead on the ground, but it has been many years since TayLiar has specifically said, this song is about this person, this song is about that person. So everything everyone is doing is speculative. This belief that a lot of people have that we know this song is about Joe, and we know this song is about Maddie, and we know this song is about Travis. No, we don't. That's just what a lot of the people in the media and a lot of the fans assume because they haven't looked for anything else, because they haven't looked for TayLiar herself, they haven't looked for her friends and family. And I very much think that that is one of the biggest oversights in a lot of people that are looking at TayLiar's work. I very much seek to recenter TayLiar in her work. Something that a lot of us have thought for a while now is that the whole purpose of the Eras Tour was for TayLiar to continue to market those old albums both to her new fans that have recently joined the fandom and also to her old fans who may have kind of forgot about those songs. There have been newer songs that have replaced those songs over the years in our hearts. But once we're reminded, oh hey, there's these old songs that we used to really love, we want to see more of them. We want to hear different versions. We want to help TayLiar own those versions. So it's fascinating to me, especially with the Time Person of the Year interview and this kind of perception that she's allowed a lot of her fans to continue with, this perception that not only is Rep done, but that it is imminently coming. Meanwhile, it's not even close to being done. That is phenomenal to me. And again, it's another example of TayLiar just bringing attention to the ways that she has lied to her fans. This is something that I bring up very frequently. A lot of people believe that they know the narrative of TayLiar, but TayLiar has explicitly said she will tell us lies. Every bait and switch was a work of art. She will change up the details such that only the person that the song is about will recognize that the song is about them anymore. And I think a lot of the stuff that she has been doing recently has kind of been to hammer in the point. We don't really know her. We don't really know what she has planned. A lot of people think that they've picked out the pattern. A lot of people think that they know what's coming next and how it's going to play out and things of that nature. But all of us are just speculating. Every single fan, regardless of what they think about TayLiar, is just speculating because we don't know. We don't have that level of insight, and she has become increasingly inscrutable as time has passed. And when I tell a lot of people that, they're dismayed by it, but here's the thing. It opens up so many more things for interpretation, right? When we stop assuming that we know who X, Y, and Z album or song is about, and just take a fresh look at them, a new look at them with all of the new context of songs that have come afterwards, of all of the new context of what has happened in TayLiar's life and how her life has played out and things like that, there are a lot of phenomenally interesting things in her work. And especially in a lot of her most recent albums, there's a lot of discussions about the issues that she's had with the industry, with fame itself, with the media. All of these things are incredibly interesting and, in my opinion, far more interesting than just relating a song back to the man everyone thinks it's about. Ever since she established herself as the man and then kind of doubled down on that with TTPD and consistently calling herself the chairman and not the chairwoman, the chairperson, something that is more feminine, is also to indicate the fact that occasionally, or maybe even often, or maybe even always, the man in her songs is her. And I think that's also a very fascinating angle to analyze a lot of her music from. One of the things that I've said again and again and again is that the reason we have not gotten anything new since TTPD, we have been allowed to linger on TTPD for over a year, is because I don't believe enough people have found the actual meaning of TTPD. I think a lot of people just looked for the evidence of the men there and then just put the album aside and ignored everything else that it might have to say. And especially with TayLiar now owning everything, and especially with this knowledge that Rep TV cannot come anytime soon because it's not done and it doesn't sound like she will ever finish it. It's fascinating for the Karma Truthers, or the Daylight Truthers, whatever you want to call that believed interstitial album that a lot of us think happened between 1989 and Reputation. And now this very much has me wondering if this was part of the plan all along. If, yes, she did initially want to re-record all of her albums, and yes, Eras Tour was part of an advertisement for that and also financial backing to allow that to happen. But then TayLiar kept struggling to get Rep to sound like what she wanted it to sound like because she believed that the original was already perfect. And then, at what point did she change her mind? I'm so curious to know more information about what the original plan is versus what the plan morphed into once she realized that Rep TV was not something that she was capable of making, at least not now in her current frame of mind with the belief that Reputation original version is perfect. And especially as a Gaylor, especially as someone who observes TayLiar as being partially out of the closet but not entirely out of the closet, it's really interesting to me that a lot of us have believed that the sole thing that was keeping her from officially coming out was the fact that she did not own her own work. Because the thing is if she does come out of the closet, if she does make an announcement like that, a lot of people are going to be going back and listening to her music in a new light. A lot of people are going to be very interested in what the songs have to say, what they believe this additional information has given context-wise. why. There's a lot of evidence that supports that she had a plan to come out in 2019, but also that she probably had a plan to come out as early as like 2014, 2015 that got subverted by Reputation. Like, the timing of this happening the last business day before Pride Month is so interesting, especially because a lot of people were like, oh, Reputation Taylor's version is going to come out June 13th because there are a lot of albums coming out in June, but June 13th there's really not that much going on, so one of the speculations was that June 13th was going to be a surprise rep job. And it's also fascinating, right? Because Taylor has openly admitted to red herrings, bait and switches, lying, things of that nature. And that means that, like, we can never be fully sure how much of the stuff that is in her work is actually her telling the truth, her being literal, things of that nature. What are red herrings? What are just things that are added to capture the attention of other people? One of my beliefs is that Taylor learned with the song Me is that if she makes things explicitly about herself, they are never going to be taken seriously. When Taylor takes herself and her work too seriously, when she discusses the aspects of her life that are struggles for her, she is very frequently labeled this spoiled little rich girl by the media and smacked back down and given this, like, you have nothing to feel sad about because you're rich and you have your dream job. But we know how the industry is, especially for women who are very likely closeted in the industry. It is a very tough environment to be in, and it makes a lot of sense that she has a lot of struggle. And I do believe that, especially in her more recent albums, that a lot of the, like, hints of different men that her music is about is just to get people interested in the lyrics. Because people read the lyrics at a lot deeper level when they believe they're getting dirty little secrets about Taylor's exes than they do when they believe that these songs are Taylor confessing the truth of her life or the problems of her life or the struggles that she's gone through. She baits people with tidbits that they believe are about her exes, and then, like, when you actually start to look deeper and you ignore those pieces of the songs and you look at what is left, what is remaining, it tells a very deep story about the struggles that Taylor has been in, about how fame has treated her, her relationship with the media, and also her relationship with her own mental health. Like, there are so many interesting things in her work, and that's why I love examining it so much. But this is all I really have to say about this for now. It's going to be very interesting, especially over the next couple of months, to see what Taylor does. Is she going to announce anything? Is she coming back into the public light? Is she going to keep hiding? Like, what exactly is the plan? I do wonder how much of her present behavior is because she's been working on this behind the scenes and she hasn't wanted to do anything that could possibly mess it up, and how much of this is because everything that's going on with the Blake Lively case and the fact that Justin Baldoni's team keeps really wanting to try and get Taylor involved when it seems like she was probably on the Eras tour when all of this was going on and really wasn't physically present the way they're inferring that they believe she was. But I do hope that this weekend especially, that she is somewhere where she is celebrating with the people that she loves the most and cares for the most, and that she can finally sleep well knowing that everything she's ever made is her own. Like I said earlier, my name is AerinMoriarty. In addition to discussing pop music, I also discuss sapphic life, sapphic lifestyle, things of that nature, especially coming from the perspective of somebody who is a late-in-life lesbian, spent many years dating men, and thought I liked men for a while, realized belatedly that I didn't actually like men, things of that nature. So if any of that is interesting to you, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out a ton as a small content creator, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Thank you.